Check out this bad boy. I found this in the collapsed little shed next to the big log barn. And this is for making beams. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Another beautiful summer day. Today, I'm at our new property, and there are certain issues I need to deal with quite quickly. And these issues are to do with Slavic tradition and mythology. In Slavic tradition, when you buy or build a new house, there are certain spirits which you have to appease, even invite onto your property. In our case, there is the Domovoi, which is the guardian of the house, and the Dvorovoi, which is the spirit, the guardian of the yard. Now, if you don't have these, you can have problems. And if you have these and don't keep them happy, you can have even bigger problems. Because this house had a previous family who built it and lived on this property, chances are they had their own spirits of the yard and house. Since I've started doing some minor reconstruction here, I've had a few issues. For example, I spent 3 days trying to fix a door lock on the barn, and I had one of the beams fall on my head, and there's no logical reason why it would have fallen exactly where I was. It should have fallen somewhere else. That was a shock. The other issue are the snakes. I am encountering quite a few snakes here, which can be a sign that the Dvorovoi, the yard spirit, is not happy. Now, to explain basically what a Dvorovoi or a Domovoi are, think of it in terms of the Roman genius loci, a spirit of a place. In modern English, we use the term genius. Oh, he's a genius, she's a genius. But we don't really understand what the word means or its etymology. A genius is literally an intelligence. It's not intelligence as in you are intelligent, it's an intelligence, as if it's its own being, its own spirit. Genius comes from a similar etymology to the Greek daemon, where we get our word demon from. This is another an intelligence. It's its own entity. And a genius loci is the intelligence of a place. A domovoi is the intelligence, the being of the house, and the Dvorovoi is the being of the yard. And every house has them, every yard has them. I have certain difficulties though, because traditionally you only have one house. You have one yard and one house. Go away, wasp. When you move into a house, you invite a domovoi to come live with you, to become master of the house and to look after it. If you move house, you invite your Domovoi to come move with you because he looks after your family. A Domovoi can even look like the owner of the house, the master of the house. He can be basically a doppelganger of me. Dvorovoi, in some Slavic cultures, he's sort of a younger brother of the Domovoi, and in others he's a completely separate entity. One big difference is the Domovoi of the house is generally seen as a good character. It's in his interest to protect the family. He does do naughty things like hide stuff, but if you ask him, he'll bring it back. If you piss him off, he will start doing quite nasty things to you. But in general, he protects you. The Dvorovoi, the yard spirit, is seen more as not negative, but more like a Loki character from Norse mythology. More like, not malevolent, but more easily angered. It's a lot harder to make a Dvorovoi happy. And if they're not happy, they cause you massive problems. There's an old Slavic curse: make grass grow in your yard. As you can see, my yard is completely overgrown with grass. And what this means is you don't have any livestock. You don't have any animals. Because if you've got animals, even chickens, you don't have grass, you have mud. And a healthy yard is basically earth. A Dvorovoi, a yard spirit, if he gets pissed off, he starts making holes in your yard. So your cows, your sheep, whatever, break their ankles when they're walking. From what I'm seeing, I don't think he's very happy at the moment. But the Domovoi, one of his traits, if annoyed, especially when a family starts squabbling, is he will start pulling her at night, sitting on your chest, sort of a sleep paralysis, incubus type effect. And he'll pull your feet. He will wail. You will hear like cries and screams at night. But this isn't a ghost, this is the Domovoi being annoyed at you. Similarly, the Dvorovoi, if you work in your barns or in the yard at night, he gets really angry. That's his time. He wants peace. So he will do similar things. So, to start with today, we're going to try and appease the Dvorovoi, the yard spirit, and try and not bring my yard spirit to live here, but to expand his territory to encompass this place. So we can feel safer when in the yard and in the barns, that things aren't going to go wrong, or we're not going to get bitten by venomous snakes, or beams aren't going to fall on our heads, this sort of thing. The first thing we're going to do to appease the yard spirit, the Dvorovoi, is we're going to hang a pair of boots. Now for some reason they love this, and this should stop whatever Dvorovoi is here from doing naughty things. This is a heel of a loaf of bread, a freshly cut loaf of bread. Now you're supposed to wrap this in white cloth, but I'm using white paper, and we shall leave this out somewhere for the Dvorovoi. King of the yard master, spirit, good-natured neighbour. I gift you these items and I thank you. Take care of the yard for me. Dvorovoi. Our Dvorovoi. This yard is now part of your domain. Please protect it as you protect our own. We have faith in you, and you have never done us wrong. This is now yours as well. Please live with us and protect this piece of land also, as my family shall expand into it. Thank you. Traditional Slavic mythology requires the sacrificing of chickens and cockerels at midnight and on certain feast days to appease the Dvorovoi and the Domovoi. But I'm not going to be sacrificing anything, but as you'll see in a minute, I have prepared some chicken for the Domovoi. Whenever we enter our own house, we knock and say, "Hi house," to let the Domovoi know, or the spirit of the house know, that we're home. In this case, this house isn't yet ours. In terms of bureaucracy and finance, it is, but in terms of the other world, it isn't. So what I'm going to do is, similarly to the Dvorovoi, I'm going to make an offering of fresh Slavic bread, which is absolutely gorgeous, some roast chicken wrapped in white paper instead of white cloth, and I'm going to leave this as a gift for the Domovoi to eat, because it should traditionally be put in the hallway. Actually, behind the oven is where the Domovoi is supposed to live. And in Slovak tradition, it's known as a škriatok, which would roughly translate as something like a goblin or a gnome. Up until the beginning of the 20th century, people in remote regions would leave little figurines, normally made of clay or wood, of the škriatok, dressed in traditional clothing, somewhere around the oven or the hearth. If you go back a little bit further, one corner of this room would have been for ancestor worship. So we're going to ask the Domovoi now, "Our supporter, come into the new home to eat bread and obey your new master. Accept us as the new family. We mean you no harm and we need your help. Keep us safe from ills and troubles. And we shall respect you." Hopefully, we've done something to appease both the Domovoi and the Dvorovoi. But in reality, the only way of doing this is by actually living here and being part of it. So this is a little introduction to the Slavic mythology and the ritualistic appeasement of house and yard spirits. As always, be free.